Oh man, Bitcoin tumbles here to the downside as Mt. Gox start to move around $9 billion worth of Bitcoin. We are seeing red across this crypto market, but I'm going to explain why this is different and why I'm not panicking. Yes, there's some new data out, which is going to prove why this time is different and why Bitcoin is in a really strong position right now. Now, first and foremost, let's take a look at what we're seeing here, which is that Bitcoin has struggled again to break through this 71.7k resistance, right? You can see, of course, we broke above it briefly earlier in March to get our all-time high, but since then, this has been a very tough zone for us. Rejected once, rejected twice, rejected thrice now. Could Bitcoin now need to head down lower to pick up some support for perhaps from 65,000, perhaps a bit lower, down to 61,000 before it's ready to mount a serious attack back at the all-time high of 73 to 74,000 here on Bitcoin. Now, what led to the spook here on the market was this. We woke up this morning to trading to see that Mt. Gox had transferred $9 billion worth of Bitcoin to a single address, okay? Now, reportedly, this is due to their repayment plan. So what they're doing is they're juggling some of their Bitcoin around, getting ready to repay the people who need to get their crypto back. But this has been going on for a long time now, right? Apparently, they'd set a deadline for October of this year to complete all of these payments, but we're not hearing news of people getting their payments yet. They're still moving stuff around, they're panicking markets, but we've not seen much actually happen. Now, I've made videos in the past of why I don't think this whole Mt. Gox selling thing is going to be a big drama. I don't think it's going to be a massive, massive problem like people are thinking. Will we get some red days? Could we get some red weeks? Yes, of course, right? But do I think it's going to be the huge effect that everybody thinks it's going to be? No, I think it's being overplayed, and I think we're going to see that it's not as bad as we think. Many people will want to hold their crypto. Many people may want to sell some of it and keep some of it. You may see other people have just, completely written off the crypto, so they don't have any plans for it. They're happy to kind of, hold it into this bull market. So there's a lot of dynamics to play here, which, kind of, hold up. Do you want to learn how to trade? Then you need to jump into our Telegram community. Link is in the description. In our Telegram community, I share my altcoins. I share how I do my trade setups, how I do my stop losses and take profit, so you could learn to become a profitable trader. Check it out. Link is in the description. Our antithesis to the point that we're just going to see a big dumping straight away, that we're just going to see all of the Bitcoin in 1 minute of trading, kind of just flush down into the market and create a big black swan crash. That doesn't mean I'm deluded to the fact that we could see red days and red weeks. We could, of course. You're seeing people having selling pressure. It will have an impact, but I don't think it's going to be as big as people are making out. Nonetheless, people did get spooked yesterday. You can see the chart pattern here showing that the tokens were flowing out. You can see initially at 137,000 in the reserve, and you can see how that dropped down to 30,000 when they made these movements. They're just moving it around apparently to get ready for some repayments. We can also take a look at this, which is that Bitcoin supply held on exchanges has just hit a multi-year low. Yes. Now, by the way, if you're not following me on Twitter at ReallyJaz1, make sure you're doing so. That's where you're going to get these charts in real time. So where you're going to get all this data where I'm sharing it on the Telegram, pinned comment down below, and also on Twitter, or X as you guys know it as well. So we are seeing that people are taking their money off exchanges. Now, if you're taking your Bitcoin off exchanges, what does that typically mean? It typically means you have no intention to sell in the near term. If you're a short-term holder, if you're a short-term trader, if you're a speculator, you normally buy crypto, you leave it on the exchange looking to sell. You probably have a stop loss in play. You have a limit sell order in play. You're not taking your coins off exchanges onto a hard wallet unless you plan to hodl. Right? So we are seeing a lot of hodling activity, and that bodes well for the next leg up on crypto. 73, 71, wherever we were at here recently, that's not enough for these hodlers. These hodlers want the next leg up towards 90, 100 and beyond here in this bull market, which is why even at these price points, they're not sitting on exchanges waiting to sell. They're not getting close to their target where they're like, oh, I'm out now, I'm selling. No, they're taking it off exchanges, which means they're in it for a longer period of time. This is the chart I really wanted to share with you, which is a really, really interesting chart that came out today, which is the Bitcoin short-term holder realized price. Now, I know it looks complicated, but I'm going to break it down for you guys here. So what I'm trying to explain with this chart, what CryptoQuant, who produced this chart, are trying to explain, is that the 70k previous peak that we hit is not the same as the one we are creating now. And I love thinking like this. When you see Bitcoin price hit a certain price point, it's not always the same. Okay, it's not always the same. I'll give you an example. If I was to zoom out here on this Bitcoin chart and I was to show you this is the history of Bitcoin, do you think Bitcoin price here, when it ran all the way up here to create this peak at 20,000, was the same as the Bitcoin price when we fell from 69,000 down to that same 20,000? Of course not. The dynamics of the market are very, very different, even though the price tells you the same thing, because you don't have the context. It's the same thing now, right? When we're looking at the price action here in this little corner here where we've hit kind of 73,000 and we've come back down and gone back up, the price action doesn't tell you the full story. And that's where this chart comes into play. Because what this chart is saying is at that point earlier in the year, when we hit some of those price points, the profit margin was 69% for short-term holders. That indicates high selling pressure as traders may realize high profits. Again, take the context, guys. When we ran up here to that 73,000 here, people were hodling from here, right? People were hodling from 39. Some people were hodling even lower, down from 26. And of course, others were hodling down from 15,500 at the lows. Either way, people were in huge profit margins, even if they were shorter term speculators. Had you even have bought in January all the way up to March, those 3 months, which is 90 days, right? You were in crazy profit margins. That is very different to the profile of people who are holding Bitcoin right now. Now you can look at the profit margin is 3%. Less selling pressure as traders don't have much profits to realize. And that's exactly the point right now. The people who wanted to take their profit at the previous 70k, those whose ambitions for Bitcoin's price action was that number. They wanted Bitcoin to get to 70k. They were in it from, 35, 40k up towards 70k. Those who wanted to get off the bus, they've left the bus. And so all that remains now are people who want to be on the bus, that are not a profit necessarily at 70,000, and that want to go to the next station. And that's when you're ready to depart, right? When you've let all the people off the bus that need to get off at this station, now you can close the door and say, okay, is that enough selling pressure? Are we done going down now? Are we ready to go to the next station? And that's where you start to see people taking their money off exchanges, like I shared in the previous chart, and you can start focusing on the next leg up here on Bitcoin. And I think that's what we're seeing. Of course, there are other extenuating circumstances like the Mt. Gox situation, like, for example, PCE inflation later this week, that can create fluctuations. But ultimately, like I've shared here, I think Bitcoin's ready for the next leg up. I think we're still in this nice breakout of this pattern. We just have to avoid a double top pattern. We just have to avoid this, where we go up there, we come back down, we go up there, touch the same point, and you come back down. This will create an M reversal pattern, which is not what we want. So what we need to see happen here is us to hold trend, manage to wick just above the previous high, right? Even if we touch 74,000, let's say, and then we can curl back over, create a higher low, work our way back up, and keep up trending here towards the upside. That's what I want to see on Bitcoin. Now you can see today's Mt. Gox situation is this red candle here. It's making us test this trend line of the breakout, right? This was the breakout trend line. Remember, this price target can work you up towards 80, 90,000 if it continues. But we need to make sure we keep up this trend. If we don't and we lose this trend, there's a chance we curl over. And there's nothing worse than curling over here after you've had a breakout. You don't want to be curling over here and losing steam, particularly at a pivot point. And this is the pivot point, right? This is the pivot point here. So when you're at that same level, you do not want to be getting rejected by that level of resistance. Very important that we see some strength over the next kind of couple of days or week or so here on Bitcoin to break us away from this kind of danger level at this resistance. Again, we just need to wick above it. Doesn't need to stay there for ages. Just need to wick above it, get that higher high, and things remain bullish here on Bitcoin. Other things worth looking at, guys, is bringing out, of course, our trusted EMA ribbon, and you can see where we've got our breathing room here on Bitcoin. You can see, yes, it's a down day, but even this down day kind of bringing you down into its EMA ribbon, which sits at that kind of 66.7 level. You've got room here on Bitcoin. If it wants to have a bit of a calling off, that's fine. Again, as long as we can bounce from it and head higher. Very important here on Bitcoin. When I then zoom out to the weekly chart, again, this is what reminds me not to panic, right? There's no reason for me to be sitting here on my Bitcoin, holding my Bitcoin, and panicking when this is the chart pattern we're playing right now. There's nothing to be concerned about here from me. Nice move to the upside, a pullback into EMA ribbon, a bounce, fine. Now, if it wants to curl over and come back down into its EMA ribbon, yes, it will be painful. Yes, people will be fearful. Yes, people will be selling their Bitcoin at this point. But then all I'll simply be doing is if we do come into this EMA ribbon, it's a great opportunity for me to be buying the dip here in this shaded area, right? I'd love to be buying more Bitcoin here in this EMA ribbon. So I would just see it as a blessing in disguise if it curled over. I'd personally be looking to buy the dip, ready then for a bigger bounce with more strength, with more energy to then go and take out the previous all-time high. So it's a bit of a patience game we need here, of course, here on Bitcoin. There are a few natural elements which can aid us. For example, if we get good inflation data later on this week, that could help, you know, fast forward this price action on Bitcoin. If we get news like the Mt. Gox one, then of course it's going to set us back another day like it has. But overall, you're not shaking me out. You can use your old tactics of, you know, Mt. Gox or this country banning Bitcoin or this or Gary Gensler or SEC. At the end of the day, it's futile. It doesn't matter. I'm buying Bitcoin because I want to hold on to crypto. And I'm buying in a way that I'm not panicking. I'm buying with cash that I don't need to spend. So if it needs to sit there, I'm following all the right game plans. I'm not using my rent money. I'm not panicking. I don't need that crypto back within 2 weeks. No, I can buy. I can DCA. If price goes up, fantastic. If price goes down, who cares? I'm DCing some more anyway. If you appreciate this type of content, guys, live and direct, then smash up the likes. Do not forget to subscribe if you want to see how I'm trading this market. I'm actively trading, guys, altcoins right now. ijazcrypto.com/TG. Come and join us. Come trade with us. See how I trade. Look at the trade patterns I set up and how I navigate this market. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.